A history-making day, the first former president in U.S. history to face criminal charges, and that leads to a lot of questions. Dr. Sam Nelson, a political science professor from the University of Toledo, joins us now. Thanks, Sam, for being here. Can Mr. Trump still run for president?
He can still run. There's nothing about eligibility to run that's affected by being under indictment.
Still quite a shocking day for a lot of people. So how will this indictment complicate the 2024 re-election bid, or could it even help him? We've seen so many people coming out in support of the former president.
Well, I think it helps him in the primary because, you know, poor Ron DeSantis, how's he going to get any airtime when this is going on? He's not going to be able to break through and get attention. So it's going to put all eyes on Trump throughout the primaries. That's probably to his advantage. But he's going to have a very hard time campaigning while a trial is going on. Given the timing, the trial may be starting when the primaries are starting, and then it would play out over probably a number of weeks, and it's going to interfere with his ability to be at rallies, to be in states where there are primaries.
Do you think voters are going to have an issue with voting for or supporting a president who's now been indicted and has, like you said, a trial ahead of him?
I think that in normal politics, yes, we'd say for sure. I think for Trump's base of support, the really firm support, they're not going to hold this against him. But there are voters in the middle that I think will be affected by, well, could we have somebody else without this kind of cloud over them?
Yeah, and I heard the prosecution is potentially looking at a January trial date, which would put him right in the middle of running. How does the Republican Party respond to this? You mentioned DeSantis. He is the other candidate that's being heavily talked about, potential candidate. How does the party even begin to coalesce while this is going on?
I think it's extremely difficult for them because all of them will have to respond to questions about, do you support Trump? You know, what about this prosecution? If your opponents are all supporting you in this crisis, how are they getting any distance between you? How are they going to come out ahead of you if they're supporting you? But also candidates for senator, for House, for governor, for any other race. Every Republican candidate is going to be asked, do you support Trump or do you not? It may hurt them much more than it hurts him.
And we've seen that in past races all across the country as well. Okay, so I think this is so fascinating. Is there anything on the books for this? I mean, this has never happened, and obviously Mr. Trump is a president of many firsts. We know that. But could he be the first president back into the White House who's indicted or potentially a convicted felon?
Well, that's certainly one of the possibilities. I mean, the way this plays out, we don't know what will happen at the trial, but appeals will not be done. Let's say he's convicted sometime in the spring. The appeals will not be over before the election, even before the inauguration. If he's still under appeal but convicted, I don't know what that looks like. I mean, that is...
So he could still potentially be the president of the United States appealing a conviction.
Correct. That the timing looks like that is definitely a possibility.
Was there anything, did our forefathers write anything about this? I mean, everything seems to be, yes, it's allowed. He could be convicted and be in the White House. He could be indicted and be in the White House. There's not a no here?
No, the Constitution leaves a lot of things left unsaid, and it leaves a lot of things, you know, scenarios unaccounted for. So we have to work it out. And we've had crises in the past of all different kinds, and we've worked them out. You know, we had to work out, for instance, before the Constitution was amended, what happens if the vice presidency is vacant and the president dies? What's the line of succession? We've amended the Constitution to deal with that situation. So maybe we need to think about that. And
that could come years down the road. Definitely history making, you can say that. Dr. Sam Nelson from the University of Toledo, we thank you once again for your time.